Hello everyone, what's up? Moses here, and I just wanted to make a follow-up video on this character. So let me, this range attack totem, we just made the build guide for this range attack totem type character, and I wanted to go through a couple of points on why this is not a pure range attack totem character. So let me pull up here couple of things. Alright, so basically, why is this not a full range attack character? For range attack characters, you want skirmish, right? If you want a range attack totem character, you want skirmish. But if we look at skirmish, we see it just gives us mana, intelligence, mana regen, physical attack damage leached as mana, and increased global accuracy rating. The only single stat is that attack skills have +1 number of maximum totems. Alright, so what does that mean for us? That means is what that means is that we're losing an entire quiver slot. Okay, now this quiver slot is pretty standard, but it has so much. On top of having a bunch of life and resist, like 90 almost to all resists, we have here, it gives us a bunch of crit multi, elemental damage attacks, crit chance. I mean, our tooltip going down without it, it's like 9k tooltip DPS. And of course it doesn't put into consideration all the damage that you get against bleeding enemies. It's just tooltip, so it's a number that means nothing, as we all should know in PoE. But it is kind of like an indication of how much we're losing when we're looking at, 20% less damage off of a quiver like this. So, no life, no resist, so that means we would have to put it someplace else on our gear, right? Because, like, when I don't have these resists, all of a sudden, hey, I'm kind of uncapped on cold and lightning, I'm going to have to load those resistances someplace else, which is going to make my build more expensive and make my items a bit harder to get, on top of the fact that I'm going to lose a lot of damage. Why? Because skirmish and additional totem, if this is the route that we want to go, if we want to go full totem character, then that's how we're going to end up going, right? Skirmish, kind of have to. Okay, so this is one big reason. Second big reason is the Ascendancy tree, and let me pull it up again. I actually made Scion. All right. Let's start with Templar, okay? Because Templar is in fact our, let's just connect to Templar and let's just tell him, hey, I'm a Templar now and I'm a Hierophant, so that we could look at what Hierophant offers us. So Hierophant offers us all sorts of stuff for totems, right? Basically these nodes right here, totem duration, +1 totem, attack and cast speed while you have a totem, increased damage per enemy killed by totems. So these are really good nodes. Totem placement speed, more damage per totems, this is more multiplier. These are really good nodes, right? And which one is the one that gives us additional totem? I believe maybe it's one of these, Pursuit of Fate, but yeah, this one. Okay, so these are the 4 nodes that we would use on a ranged attack totem. Outside of that, area effect, while we have Arcane Surge, your spells, it doesn't really fit too well with ranged attack totems. Arcane Surge, irrelevant. Over here we got cast an additional brand, so that's completely irrelevant. This is brand stuff. Damage taken from mana before life. Mind over matter. Again, as an attack skill character, we want our mana reservation, especially with a character like this. We want our wrath, we want our hatred, we want our anger and herald. We want our 75% reserved to, damage and more damage. We don't want to go mind over matter, right? We want leech, we want to be able to. So, I mean, sure, you're going to get plus totem and the awesome quality of life that is totem placement speed that we're getting off of this, and the more damage per totem, but outside of that, Hierophant Ascendancy offers nothing to ranged attack totems. And on top of that, all the cool stuff for bows is completely on the other side of the tree. So how in the world are you gonna get into all the bow nodes, all the elemental nodes, all the stuff that we need, the conversion? you know, you're not, right? So your character is going to be very, very awkward. So let's look at Scion right now, okay? So, all right, we want, okay, let's take a look at Scion. We want a ranged attack totem. How about we make a hybrid between a Scion, between a ranger, something like a Deadeye, because I chose a Deadeye. So let's see what Scion Deadeye has to offer us. Ascendant, right? And then we are not connecting. Wait. So we want to make a Path of the Ranger. Alright, and now we are disconnecting from Templar. Alright, disconnecting from Templar, and this is a tree like this at level 92 is something that we can have with 2 passes from Alira. We are getting the Hierophant, right, because we want the +1 to additional totem, whatever. And we're getting Path of the Ranger with, let's say, Deadeye. Right? So let's look at what this gives us. Again, nothing. Deadeye, increased global accuracy rating, that's great. Projectile pierce additional targets. If we're looking at the skill that I'm using right now, the skill is, in fact, you know, rain of arrows. It says projectiles cannot pierce. See? Right under the less area of effect, fires 1 sequence of 23 arrows. Projectiles cannot pierce. Right? They don't go, you know, horizontally. They go vertically from the air. They shoot at the monsters on the ground. So they don't pierce through enemies and hit multiple targets the way traditional projectiles work. These are different type of projectiles, and for rain of arrows, this entire Ascendancy is useless because pierce makes it useless. An additional projectile, when you shoot 1 sequence of 23 arrows, skill fire an additional projectile, kind of irrelevant, 23, 24, right? So again, Deadeye is kind of dead. So all the good stuff that we're actually getting from a tree that has Deadeye, again, is irrelevant. And when we're looking at Hierophant, all we're getting is +1 to maximum of number of totems. We're not getting any of the good stuff, which is placement speed. And again, if we want stuff like Ancestral Bond, obviously we're not gonna get there from Scion unless we take Path of the Templar instead of Path of the Ranger, and then we're in the same kind of problem of, hey, how do I get to all the cool Ranger nodes and the cool crit nodes of Shadow? So a tree like this is going to be very hard. You know, we could cut off entirely you know, like save up some points here and there from these, but then we lose like a lot of life. Try and trim all the unnecessary nodes, make the tree a bit more efficient, but just a bit, and maybe do a little connection from here, and still, like, I don't know, pick Path of the Shadow, Path of the Templar, you know, something like this, and then still try and connect to Templar, and, you know, instead of Path of the Ranger, take Path of the Templar instead, right, and then disconnect some nodes from here. But look, like we're losing so much by doing this, and, you know, connecting from Scion, so we could still, you know, disconnect this entire thing and then go into Ancestral Bond, so we could do something like that. But even this, like, you see, it's so inefficient to be able to, I mean, you'll need to do some serious work on a tree like this to be even remotely resembling any sort of efficient tree. And, you know, I wouldn't recommend it. I wouldn't recommend it, because in the end, the Ascendancy nodes are going to be worthless. Because Deadeye is not going to be good, so you're going to pick up something like maybe Raider, right? Because you want the attack damage, the frenzy charges. I mean, but the frenzy charges are not for your totems, they're for you. So what is that going to do for you? Not too much. So I don't even know what you would pick up here as a hybrid, because for Rain of Arrows Deadeye, that's not going to do you anything good except increase global accuracy. So maybe it's worthwhile for you to even pick up Juggernaut. I don't know. Either way, you're changing the build entirely, and if we're looking at Deadeye itself, Deadeye just makes so much more sense as a ranger picking up a Deadeye. It just makes so much sense because what is this? This is removed. This is completely removed. Yeah, and we're picking up these nodes right here and these, and we are unspecking here and here, and then we are getting all these life nodes, and we are getting, and this is how my tree looks like right now. You know, we're getting all the jewel nodes, we're getting all the good stuff from the shadow, we're getting all the good stuff from the yeah, we're actually unspecking here, and we are grabbing the you know, Lionized Fall, right? So this is how our tree looks like right now with Lionized Fall, and we are level 90. So maybe some changes here and there, maybe a couple life notes here and there that I didn't pick up. I think this is exactly how my tree looks like. And the most important part is that we're Deadeye, and we are getting Gathering Winds, which is huge. We're getting Fast and Deadly, which is huge. We're getting Rapture, which is huge. And we're getting even some increased bonus of increased global accuracy, projectile damage, and projectile speed. Far shot. Projectile speed is irrelevant for rain of arrows, but far shot is kind of nice actually, which means we're going to get some sort of bonus whether we're at range or at close range. You know, whether high or you know, melee ranged or far from the target. So that's why Deadeye makes so much more sense. That's why Ranged Attack Totem seems really bad in my opinion. Sure, they can work, sure they could probably do some decent content, maybe up to red maps, but I don't know if they're going to be particularly good. I mean, it's PoE, you can make everything work, but when I'm making a build, I want to make something that actually makes a lot of sense to me. And you know, this ranger build, the way that we're working with everything, just, you know, falls into place way better. The only thing that I wish I had were these 3 nodes. If there were any way I could get them as a Deadeye, you know, the placement speed would make a lot more quality of life. There's just like no totem nodes here at all. I think maybe it's something that GGG need to think about. Maybe add a little cluster of totems if they want to make Ranged Attack Totem more viable, because the way that just the tree, it's just so awkward. I wouldn't recommend anyone to build Ranged Attack Totem the way it's built right now. I am, however, making use of the multi-totem. You know, it allows us to do 3 totems at a time, and an entire 6-link setup actually makes a lot more sense when we're shooting ourselves, and we have more totems as kind of like a side, you know, something on the side that deals additional damage, in addition to our actual main attack. So this is why, and this setup actually works very well with the Ranged Attack Totems. It feels like a full, complete build. And, you know, while the totems are up, you're shooting your shit, and when the totems are down, you know, summon a couple more, and it's very fluent, very, you know, very fun way of playing the video game, and it works very nicely. Just not as Hierophant, not as Scion hybrid, in my opinion. But hey, this was my take on this, and I kind of felt like I needed to make a separate video to talk about that topic because it's kind of big and I didn't want to put it in the actual guide. But there it is for you. So thank you very much for watching. Hopefully we have an Uber Elder kill for this character. You know, I'm pretty sure it's gonna happen. Hopefully, if I don't derp. And that would be it. Thanks for watching. See you next time.